How did they make the announcement to you?
They called us all in a big hangar and told us they were shutting it down.
Everybody?
Yeah,
Yeah.
Everybody.
They brought us all into a hangar. I mean, every Boeing employee. And I felt like kind of a somewhat of an arrogant slap, and so did most of the people. But they had already been in Sedgwick County, and the city of Wichita had more police officers out in the parking lots. They had all the security people from Boeing that usually work second or third shift come in like we were a bunch of little kids, and we're going to hear this news and we're going to tear up a plane or something silly. And most of the people took that as a real slap in the face. You know, you don't think we're professional enough to, okay, you told us this is bad news, I didn't want to hear it, but I'm not going to go destroy property, and neither is any of the rest of our people. And they took that as a slap in the face, and they went out in the parking lot and see all these Wichita and Sedgwick County PDs out there waiting for, I don't know what, I guess a riot or something.
You know, when they made that announcement, nobody said a word. Nobody screamed and hollered. Everybody just turned around and laughed. They didn't, you know, it was pretty amazing.
When you hear it and it's immediate and happens so quickly, you start thinking, oh my, you know, this can't happen to us. You know, they've been here for all of these years, and you hear something of that nature, you know, and to us it was like losing a family member. And then we started thinking about that there's 2,100 employees. What happened to them?
It just felt like a stab to the heart because, you know, again, you're loyal for over 30 years, and the average worker out there is 50 plus. So where does a 50-year-old man go find employment in another, and with the only trade he knows is working with his hands? You know, there's hardly no other options for him out there.
I basically knew it was coming. As soon as we signed the contract extension in December the year before, when you read on there and it says Wichita will be the finishing center if still a viable open site. And when we read that, we said, we're closed. We don't know when, but we're shut. To me, that was black and white.
It wasn't much of a shock to a lot of us. I mean, you can see with just the fact that you don't have any work, you know, you've got some programs and things are just slowing down, and nobody wanted it to happen, you know, and we didn't know that it was actually going to happen when it did, but it wasn't shocking news.
But you still have that hope in the back of your mind that, you know, the company would realize that, you know, who built Boeing? You know, the people built Boeing. Why? And Wichita has given a lot to Boeing. And Boeing has given a lot to Wichita. But the people here have really given a lot to Boeing and all the aircraft industry around here. And for Boeing to pull out, I don't know. I took it as a slap in the face, as most people did. You know, slap in the face and thank you, but hey, we're done with you. Goodbye. It's hard for people to understand that.
I was more irritated with them because of the way they treated everybody who helped them get this work. And, you know, why would we have helped them get the work if there wasn't an understanding that they were going to place work here in Wichita? And then they just say, oh, thanks, and now we're leaving.
It's devastating. It's like losing a family member, really. You know, for one, I never thought they'd sell, you know, but then they sold. You know, then never thought they'd leave Wichita, you know, especially with all the investment Wichita and the county has invested in the Boeing company, you know, and then for all the hard work we did to union members and, you know, regular employees and Boeing did to get that KC-135 work, you know, that fuel work, and then abandon us after we win it. You know, I mean, those were jobs. Those are good jobs in a community that's been hurting for, you know, 4 or 5 years, you know. So, yeah, it's devastating.
Look, I was very disappointed. I was disappointed in that so many in this community, folks at Boeing, suppliers, had worked awfully hard to help develop the proposal that ultimately proved to be the winning proposal. And the Boeing company had committed to building that here. They told us if we are successful, we're gonna build that airplane in Wichita, Kansas, out at that site. So when they ultimately concluded that they weren't going to do that, I was very disappointed. I was upset that they were not going to be able to honor the commitment that they'd made to the community.
I really don't care whether it stays or whether it leaves. I honestly don't. I worked long enough to get a small retirement from the Boeing company, for which I'm thankful. But given the way I was treated in the latter years, I don't care whether they could have left town 10 years ago. Wouldn't have bothered me a bit. Not a bit. Am I bitter? Yeah, I'm a little bitter. I mean, that's the answer of a bitter man. It really is, and I'll be the first to admit it. But I think my anger and frustration are just. I think they're righteous. I don't think we were done. I don't think the 900 and some odd people who got laid off when I got laid off were done. It was not done properly. Could have been done with a little bit more finesse, a little bit more caring, a little bit more gentility, but it wasn't, and that's water under the bridge.